what was it inside of you, or what emotions or mental just focus came out of that? And how did you turn it around? And what I love about your story is it didn't take forever. And sometimes I get people that might be in their 60s and they're thinking, well, it's too late for me, or, in their 50s, it's too late for me to break away. But you did it very quickly. So tell me about that.
So since I was young, I had always felt that I was destined, that wealth was going to happen, not for materialistic sake. I've never desired to be this materialistic king. I just liked the idea of being free. I hated the idea of having to work for somebody else. So I'll be honest with you. I went into a deep depression in 2009, and I gave up. And it's shocking for me to even say that, because I just do not give up. And I gave up. And without my wife, I don't know what would have happened to me. I threw in the towel. I went and got a job at a grocery store, thinking the economy was in depression, never gonna do real estate again. And I went in and I started working at nights at a grocery store, and totally let go of entrepreneurship and investing for several months. And luckily I had started the hobby as a YouTube channel, because I was still doing those videos every Friday, which would keep me tied into my original passion. And over time, it was my wife's desire and my wife's passion and her encouragement that got me to at least dust myself off and get up. And it's funny, when I finally did get up, I still was all messed up, because my goal was not even to get wealthy anymore. My goal was to just not be poor. So it came from a scarcity mindset that, look, I just don't want to be poor. And but little did I know, now going back in hindsight, I realized what I had actually done was actually not dumb. It was actually quite smart. What I did was I made a very easy, achievable first step. And it was followed by a second step and a third step that ultimately leads me to where I am today.
That's awesome. I mean, one thing that you say that, and I had a lot of friends that were in real estate in that same time frame. And what I hear from a lot of people that I talk to is, oh, I was in real estate in 2008 hit, and I don't want to ever be in real estate again. But what you just said there is probably one of the traits that is the reason that you are so successful, and that it hasn't taken you a long time to do it, is you didn't say, I don't want to be in real estate. You just readjusted, changed your thinking. And even when that scarcity thinking crept in, you didn't let it stay there. Just like in the book, As a Man Thinketh, I mean, we're going to get negative thoughts, but we can't let them stay there. And, I think that's awesome. And so now, you're a multimillionaire, financially free. Your money's working for you, not you working for money, right?
Yes. And it took a long time to do it. At least in my mind, it took a long time, right? But it was relatively short as far as my age, and from basically dusting ourselves off to 2012, I had those initial steps. Like my mind, I was like, I want to pay off the house and have the passive income pay for everything. And by 2012, check. Then I was like, okay, I want to be a millionaire. That happened relatively short after that. And then, you're kind of like just making your goals, and you'd be surprised if once you're focused on something, how it can happen. Now, my wife, we did crazy things though to save money. I'm not going to lie. I'm not one of those people where I'm like, spend your way to wealth.
Right.
We slashed our way to wealth. We slashed our way to a great foundation, which allowed us to build on that. And even in times of great wealth, we always say, my wife and I always say, our lifestyle has lagged our income by 2 years. So even as a millionaire, I was driving a 2003 Nissan Altima. It took to probably get to the north of $5 million range before I went out and bought my Escalade that I love. That's
right. So what's interesting about that, Northcote Parkinson, he has the Parkinson's Laws. I don't know if you've ever read that book, but he says that expenses rise to equal income, right? And in Nelson Nash's book, Becoming Your Own Banker, Nelson says, if you can't beat Parkinson's laws, you might as well dig a hole and jump in. And so that's another thing that stands out to me, Daniel, is that you did beat Parkinson's law, because you said, hey, we're going to make sure we live below our means, and so that we can get ahead. And, books like The Richest Man in Babylon, and they all give you that advice to do that. but most people in our society can't do that. That's why they stay part of the herd. That's why they don't understand money, and they, and they live their whole lives like that in what we call the reassuring lie.
Sure.
So when you think about money, obviously you knew about money when you were young, undercutting the teacher for a penny on the pencils, and hey, you were figuring out, hey, how am I going to make money? Who taught you that? What did were your parents entrepreneurs, or were they W-2 employees, or?
My mother was a stay-at-home mom. My father was a W-2 employee. I don't know where the entrepreneur spirit came from me. My father taught me the discipline of not spending more than you earn and saving money. That definitely came from my dad. I came across a mentor at the age of 13, a very wealthy real estate investor and business owner. And he really helped as far as a personal guide into my 20s. And then the biggest influence on my life, though, was Robert Kiyosaki's book. It was called Want to Be Rich and Happy, Don't Go to School. And of course, as a 13-year-old boy, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So I bought that book.
Yeah.
And then I want to say like 2 years later, he came out with Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And of course, read that book and Cash Flow Quadrant. And actually I'm thrilled. I actually got to speak to Robert Kiyosaki for the first time about 2 months ago. And I was
awesome.
able to tell him all of this.
I love Kiyosaki's books. Probably, I think it's still the latest one, How the Rich Get Richer, is great. Second Chance. I love Second Chance. Sometimes people don't read Second Chance because they think, well, in my 30s, I don't need a second chance. I just need my first chance. Well, read the book, because that's not really the message. But it's, Kiyosaki. I love when the Wall Street people, rip Kiyosaki, because he's just breaking away from Wall Street. He doesn't want anything. He understands that game is rigged, but so that's awesome that you got to talk to him.